Well, here's a tough question because like, how do you get around the whole idea of corruption? You hear about people getting into high places, and then that somehow, when they stay in place, the people that they end up meeting, because they're so powerful, some of it gets rubbed off. I'm not accusing anyone particularly, but the point is that it permeates the whole culture in Westchester County, whether it be in just all over politics. So you see people who become very strong in their position. They get reelected over and over. You even wonder why. But it just is what it is. It's a process. We don't realize that we may seem to be intelligent, but we're probably no more than lemmings, as far as what we do and how we do it. Madison Avenue discovered that years ago, and we've been doing that ever since. So we get led along almost like dogs to wherever we're going. But how do you keep yourself clean? Or do you have to be clean before you get started and you abide by the tenets of what you believe?
Well, people run for office, and sometimes I've seen this, and you've seen this, where they seem to have noble aspirations, and then they get in office and they seem to change, and they're no longer serving the community.
It's the Kool-Aid.
You see that a lot, and I think it's really important for people to remember where they came from and remember why they wanted the job. I went to law school, as I said, to be a prosecutor, and I'm running for district attorney because I want to continue to be a prosecutor and to keep people safe. And it's important that whoever's the district attorney not forget that, not become detached from the community, not make political deals and base their decisions based on how to get reelected. They really have to focus on what's the job about. And this is my passion to do this job. And if you look at my campaign, we have a really big network of people. I'm not the chosen person from some big party boss. I'm a regular guy who lives in White Plains and was a prosecutor for a number of years. And we've raised a lot of money in my campaign, but the money, if you look at my donor list online, is from a lot of different people, sometimes with very small contributions. But it's really a grassroots campaign of volunteers and a large segment of the population. So I think that'll help me, that I'm not just some elder statesman being picked out by some political boss to run for DA. This is my passion in life, and the people supporting me are just as passionate about the cause as I am, which is keeping people safe in Westchester.
And does the conduct or the demeanor of police work and also judges, does that come from the district attorney's office? Does the milieu, the environment that you set when you come into office, does that penetrate all that whole environment?
It does. It all comes from the DA's office, because the DA's office has, with the police, they are the ones who decide what's going to happen with the cases after arrest. And police officers know whether or not, if they work hard to make an arrest, whether there will be any real benefit to the community based on what the DA's office is going to do. And they will be less inspired to maybe make a tough arrest if they know the DA's office is going to do nothing with it. The police tell me that they want to be able to feel that when they work hard, the DA's office will actually help them when they make a good arrest. And as far as judges, they take cues from the DA's office too. The DA's office is an advocate. If the DA's office is going to fight hard for tougher sentencing, the judges, I believe, will have to come along. But right now, when the DA's office is not pushing for tougher sentencing, then they're not going to necessarily do it on their own.
And also when it comes to laws, you said before you were talking about some advocacy that comes out of the district attorney's office. Can you push for a law to be changed by your very advocacy?
Absolutely. The DA's office has a big bully pulpit where I mentioned changing the rules on sex offender registration for endangering the welfare. The DA's office can absolutely have a big impact on that, especially
call up our assemblymen and our state senators and so on.
Or if a bunch of area district attorneys get together and speak vocally and say, look, this is the tool that we need to protect the public, whether it's strengthening domestic violence sentences or strengthening gun laws or changing the sex offender registration rules. People are going to listen to the district attorneys because they are the ones prosecuting the cases. And we don't see that enough these days. We used to see it more in Westchester. How
do you also bring the communities together? There are a lot of towns and villages and cities throughout the county. How do you bring them together so that you get a better sense of some of the issues that you've already been able to glean on your own. And I'm going to have to ask you to hold off,
Sure.
answering that, because we have a break on the 45. So we'll be back and we'll talk about other things. And if you want to call us at 914-636-0110. You'll be able to speak with Dan Schorr, who's running for district attorney in Westchester County. Thank you.
1460 WVOX.
Now on 1460 WVOX, back to the inside stories from Yonkers and across Westchester. This is On the Level with Hezi Aris, the publisher and editor of the Westchester Herald and the Yonkers Tribune. Once again, here's Hezi Aris.
Thanks, Mr. Harper. Manning the phones is Chris. If you want to give him a call so you could speak to Dan Schorr, we're at 914-636-0110. And we are speaking with Dan Schorr, who's running for Westchester County District Attorney. And it looks like we have a call, so there you go. Because I forgot my question. Thank goodness the caller probably has a more valid question. Let's go with the caller.
Hello, Hezi. Hello, Dan. It's Louis. How you doing?
Hi, Louis. How are you?
How you doing? What I want to ask Dan is, in Westchester County right now, there's a number of gang violence that's going on throughout our streets. Mount Vernon, we had an incident a couple of years ago in New Rochelle at the New Rock Center. What are we going to do? What's the game plan for down the road to prevent this gang violence? And because it seems like every time there's gang violence, there's always innocent bystanders, the ones that get hurt, like that poor little kid in Yonkers that was shot that the bullet went through the window, through the wall. I think that we need to look at the changing of Westchester County, how Westchester County is changing, and that we need to tackle this. It's not pristine Scarsdale no more.
Well, that's a good question. Thanks, Louis. What can you say about that?
Well, Louis, thanks for the question. That's an excellent question, and I think a lot of people have that on their mind as the most serious concern about crime in this county. We have this rising gang problem here. We have a lot of shootings. It's been well documented on the news. There are a number of things the DA's office needs to do immediately. One is that when people are arrested with a gun, they have to put that person in jail. If someone uses a gun, they have to go to jail also for longer. And right now, the DA's office is passing up the opportunity to prosecute a lot of people who are arrested for gun crimes. I've been talking to a lot of police officers around this county who tell me that they arrest someone for a gun, and the DA's office very often gives them probation or doesn't prosecute the case at all because they don't want to work hard to make the conviction. And more Westchester police officers are taking their cases to the federal government for prosecution for gun cases because they feel the DA's office is not being tough enough. And we can't allow the federal government to be doing all these prosecutions because the DA's office is closer to the community and they need to be tougher. We need to make sure that people know that if you use a gun, if you possess a gun in this county, you're going to jail. The DA's office is going to be tough. We're going to take you to trial if necessary, and we're going to win and convict you. And people don't feel that right now. A lot of criminals, there's a sense of a lack of a deterrent because enough people are committing these crimes and not being incarcerated. So I want to change that. And we also need to get more involved with the community. We've heard about community policing where the police officers are known by the community. We need the same thing with prosecutors where communities know the assistant DA, where they go into the schools and talk to kids about gangs, get involved in their lives, get involved in the community, and show them that there are other options. The DA's office can be a real advocate for that.
Well, one thing that was interesting, I thought there was a big promotion last year or the 2 years before that if you were in a car and somebody was found to have a gun, that you were all arrested. So, I mean, if people are not being arrested and put away, if they carry a gun, then I'm sure the people on the street who are perpetrating this stuff are going to know about it before even other citizens would know.
Well, they are being arrested. The police are doing a great job. The problem is they're not being prosecuted by the DA's office. They're either being given an easy plea bargain or they're being released. I've talked to so many police officers who tell me this, and what I would ask your listeners to do is talk to your local police officers. Ask them what they think about how the DA's office is being run, and then you'll hear an unfiltered version of how the DA's office is being run. I would ask everyone listening, talk to your local police officer, ask them about the problems with the DA's office, or just ask them how they think the DA's office is being run. They'll hear it for themselves.